Okay, guys. So first, I'm just going to check that this is live, and let's see if we can. Okay, just checking to make sure this is working. All right. Yes, it is. All right. So if you want to join me this morning, just let me know. You can also ask me questions. If you click on the link itself, you can join the comments. So it goes actually will go back to my YouTube channel so you can comment and because it's unlisted just so I can use it for patrons. All right, so I'm going to give you some tips today on New Year's resolutions. All right, because I think that New Year's resolutions are bollocks. They're complete bollocks. And I think the biggest problem with them, and don't get me wrong, I think setting goals is a great thing. But especially when it comes to health, and it usually always relates to that when we're talking about New Year's resolutions, people always say, well, I'm going to give up coffee, or I'm going to lose 10 kilos, or I'm going to do this and do that, and so on. Or I'm going to join the gym, and etc. Now, I think the first mistake people make when they are talking about New Year's resolutions is talking about them. Okay. Don't announce yourself. The thing is, don't tell everyone about it. Don't tell anyone anything that you are doing. The reason why is because people being people, it's just the way they are. They always have, or quite often, they will have a negative reaction to these so-called New Year's resolutions and doubt, and they actually will increase your doubts because they doubt that you can do it. Now, you can use this as a couple of different ways. Like you can use this as motivation, use their doubts as motivation to prove them wrong. But at the end of the day, that seed of doubt does get into you as well. It does inevitably give you self doubt on whether you can do this or not. So I I kind of like I like to say, well, just don't tell anyone because it's easier for you to manage what you want to do if no one else knows about it. Like it's like think of it like a storm. You know, a storm doesn't tell everyone it's coming. It just it doesn't really announce itself. It just arrives and then all of a sudden it's raining and then thunder and lightning and so on. It's sort of it takes a while to build up. You know, it takes the right atmosphere, like the heat and so on like that, for it to actually build up and then the storm forms, right? So be like that, be like the storm. The thing is that when another reason why this adds doubt to what you are doing is because I think it's just the way people are. They if you haven't done it already, they doubt that you can do it, right? And this is what something I like to tell people as well. Just because you haven't done it yet doesn't mean that you can't or that you won't do it. You know, the problem is actually talking about it. So the best way to do it is to just work on yourself and then just bang, arrive and let people ask, well, how did you do that? Not about, don't let them ask questions like, how are you going to do that? Right. Or I really don't see you doing these sorts of things. So the point is just arrive, build yourself up, do the work, and then just bang, arrive just like a storm, and then let them ask how did you do that? You know, so like um, I've always found it easier to just for myself to just do it and not talk about it. People in my family think that I'm very secretive, but it's not about keeping secrets. It's really just about um, working on myself without having to announce it. Like success is not always loud. Okay. Like it was many, many years before I even started a YouTube channel. Okay. Um, like I'm 11 years in remission now, going into my 12th year. Um, so it took a long time before I started speaking about it, you know. Now, another reason why I don't think that New Year's resolutions, another reason why I think people don't stick to New Year's resolutions is because they always have this end goal or this end result in mind, but they don't have any step-by-step process of how to get there. Okay. So for me, it's not about um, so much. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, like having a goal is great, but you need to have a process of how to get there. You need to have a routine and a plan. Okay. You need to plan these things out because if you don't plan, then you are planning to fail. Okay. And it's the same with like if you don't have like even short term, so break it down into each step. For example, when I go to the gym, I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what I'm doing for that day. If it's a leg day, for example, today I'm working on legs. That's my plan for today. Okay. Why is because that's way down the line. All right. Um, but I think this is what it's all about. It's not so much about the goals as it is about the routine. All right. And this is my next point is that it's not really about changing, like having these life changing, sort of just because it's the new year sort of thing. Like, and again, your new year can change any day. Every day is a new day that you can start a resolution or start a new goal. So waiting for the end of the year, I think to me it's just bollocks, really. It's it's putting off what you could have done yesterday or the month before or even 2 months before. So, and again, I'm kind of rambling a bit here because I really haven't planned this out. Well, I have actually, but when you're ADHD, it's sort of it all just comes rushing at you. The thing is, it's about building habits and routines. And like I said, before Christmas, if you are planning to stick to your diet, stick to your routines because everything else falls into place after that. If you break your routine, you break everything else. You break your diet, you break your healthy habits, and so on. Okay. So it's really about building a routine. Instead of coming up with a New Year's resolution, come up with a new routine. Okay. And stick to that routine. And then that routine will become habits. And those habits will give you your goal. Okay. Because it's not our goals that define us, or it's not our goals that make us successful. It's our habits that make people successful, no matter what they're doing. All right. So that the idea is to build the habits that are going to get you to your goal. All right. And you do that by implementing a routine. So you make a routine, you stick to it, the routine becomes habit. Then you get the goal. Okay. And that's how you do it. That doesn't matter what you are doing in life, whether we're talking about health or anything else, business practices or whatever. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, that's pretty self explanatory. I suppose 10 minutes is enough, really. So, I'm going to actually put this into a video and maybe map it out a bit better. Um, the next thing is making time. Now, I have a very good, I think that another reason why people don't stick their resolutions or apart from not building a routine or habits, is that they tell themselves that they are not or they don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day. How many times do you hear people saying that? There's just not enough hours in the day. I don't know. I can't get the time to go to the gym. I can't get the time to, you know, jump in the ice bath before work because, I have to get ready and so on. I can't do breath work before I start work, or I can't do breath work before I go to bed. I just don't have the time. Well, the thing is, um, how much time do you spend watching TV? How much time do you spend scrolling social media? How much time do you give to people who basically do not give anything back? So there is always time. Okay, there is always things that we can cut back on, and or there are always things that we can cut back on. This is where honesty comes in, and it doesn't really matter what you do with other people. That's I'm not going to judge anyone on that, but being honest with yourself should take priority. Now, I'm guilty of this myself too because I've wasted a lot of time in my life. Um, and time is our most precious commodity. Okay, um, you can see that by the way the state of the world is right now. The biggest thing that they steal from us is time, and we are guilty of that as well. We are guilty of wasting it. So I have a very honest plan, and I when I find myself wasting time, I like to give myself a good kick up the butt because write down. It's a very simple method of writing down just track what you have been doing for just 24 hours. Just 24 hours. That's all you need to do. Just track exactly how long you are doing each and everything. Okay. And then have a look at that and be honest with yourself and see whether or not you can find more time to do the things that you really want to do. For example, 20 minutes of, say, ice bath and breath work. If you don't have time or you think you don't have time, how about just get out of bed 20 minutes earlier or 30 minutes earlier? Okay. Give you a bit of transition time. All right. Um, how about going to bed half an hour earlier, you know, so that you can get up half an hour earlier? How much time do you spend scrolling through social media? And how much time do you spend watching TV, or how much time do you spend just not thinking about what you could be doing instead? So these are questions that I ask myself, and I try to ask myself every day if I'm doing what I should be doing or what I could be doing. You know, because I'm very much guilty of doing this myself. I'm very guilty of wasting time, scrolling through social media. I get distracted very easily. With ADHD, it makes it fairly difficult. Okay, so this is something I'm very guilty of myself. So it's something that I've been implementing and practicing myself is tracking exactly what I've been doing throughout the day and being honest with myself, saying, you know, wondering like, what could I be doing at this, instead of doing this, instead of scrolling through social media, for example. Um, and I've taken to listening to I've been listening to audiobooks and so on for a long time, but sometimes I'll just sit instead of just sitting and reading a book and that I tend to get bored with that because I feel like I could be doing something else. So I like to listen to audiobooks while I'm exercising, for example. Like I'll sit on the exercise bike, I do my sprints, or um, anything else. Go to the gym, I'll listen to an audiobook rather than music. This sort of helps to double things up for me. Um, but I'm not saying you have to do things like that, but simply take an honest look at how you are spending your time. Okay, how and try to think of maybe some better ways that you could be using that time. Okay, um, for example, instead of scrolling through social media, you look taking in all that blue light and aging your brain and so on. You could be learning something new, which will help with neuroplasticity and help keep the brain younger. You know, so I like to do. I mean, I try to take in as much as I can through the day, and like I study two different languages still. And I try to. I mean, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to give you ideas on um, other things that you could be doing rather than wasting time on certain things like social media and so on. Okay, when I'm not exercising or something else, I try to learn something new. I try to practice music, and I try to practice languages, and I try to practice other things. But these are all things that have really helped me to restore or come back from where I was as well, because that neuroplasticity, or actually putting that effort into learning things, is another big factor in my recovery. Um, After being in, going through so many years of chemotherapy and being so, my brain was pretty much fried. Um, then, like I had very little hope for, um, for years afterwards of ever getting any better. And slipping into dementia was a very big worry for me. And I was pretty much a dementia patient when I came out of it anyway. So, the process of actually making it worse was one of my biggest fears. So these are things that really helped me a lot. So it's really just about, um, yeah, trying new things. I don't. So I think it's great, and again, when I say trying new things, okay, this is a good thing. It's whether you continue with them or not doesn't make you any less successful. It doesn't make you um, someone who gives up a lot. You just need to find your niche as well. But that's something that can be quite difficult. I'm 52 and I'm sort of still sort of finding myself, um, really, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think. So there's yeah, try new things. If it doesn't work, or if you just find that it's not for you, don't be too hard on yourself either. There's a whole world of possibilities that you can try again and again and again. You know, if you don't enjoy it, try something new. If you do enjoy it, don't give up on it don't give up on it too easy either. Because you know everything takes time, everything takes practice, and no matter what you start or what you do, you are always going to there's always a starting point. We all have a starting point. Like when you first go, when you first start exercising, or when you first, go to the gym, for example, you're not an expert, or lifting heavy weights when you first get there. It takes time and it takes practice. Okay, so it's really, if you enjoy it, stick with it, and don't be afraid to, look a bit silly when you first start either, or feel a bit, disheartened either. Okay, you just, like like anything and everything, it takes time and practice to get good at what you are trying anyway. So, um, yeah. So these are some tips anyway for trying to stick with a New Year's resolution, a new goal or plan. Make it a routine, then make that routine a habit. Okay, and it's the habits that make you successful. Okay, it's always been that way. No matter what it is, it's our habits that make us successful. No matter what we do. So don't announce yourself. Don't tell anyone. Keep it to yourself, and be like the storm. Just build yourself up, and then just arrive and let people ask you how you did it. Okay, in hindsight. Sorry, it's probably a bit confusing listening to all this gibberish, but yeah, I might put this into a listed video for you, and I'll post it rather than leaving a live. Obviously, it's kind of a struggle to find the right time for everyone to come together for these lives. So yeah, I will find maybe a later time that might suit other people as well. All right, guys. So there's just a few thoughts on how to uh, manage your time and your uh, New Year's resolutions, perhaps. Okay. Two more things that I would like for people. Or two more things that I think that will make you uh, stronger throughout the year. Okay, is ice bath and breath work first thing in the morning. Okay, make it a routine, make it a habit, and you'll become successful. You'll make you stronger for everything else that you do throughout the day. Um, yeah, and this I guarantee, as long as you do it. All right, everyone. I'll leave it there because obviously there's no questions and no one watching today. So again, I will try and find a time that will suit everyone for Q&A for all my patrons, and we will talk very soon. Okay. Well, let me see how we go. I'm just going to check on the Patreon, make sure there's okay. Any questions? Again, if you want to ask questions, please, you can either click on the link and for YouTube, or leave questions in the comment section. Okay. Again, it doesn't have to be during the live either. If you have any kind of questions, just leave them in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Okay. All right, everyone. I hope this has been somewhat useful for you, and I will try to put it into a more coherent video for you very soon. Okay. You have a great day. I hope you all enjoy your New Year's Eve. Okay. It is New Year's Eve here, or almost. It's still in the morning. But it's the 31st here in Australia. I'm guessing for the UK and America, it's still the 30th of December. But I really do wish everyone all the very best luck for the next year, for the coming year, 2026, as the Asian Year of the Horse. In Japan is the Year of the Horse. Yeah, so to all the I wish you all the very best of success and life has to offer for the coming year. Okay. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon.